Hello and welcome back to War Story Podcasts. Once again, I'm Sydney Norris. Today's story is brought to you by veterans.ca, where you can do your own research on war heroes and their stories. This podcast features a brave soldier fighting in World War I. Thank you for listening and I hope you enjoy. The trenches are drowning in thick mud, with a fierce aroma that resembles death, which isn't uncommon here. Rats scurry through these dangerous sectors where we step over the dead soldiers lying beneath us, hoping to God that we aren't next. My troops' feet are swollen and cracking from being down in these deep trenches for months at a time. I'm so tired and I miss my family back home. Although my need to see them is desperate at this point, I want to make a difference in this war. I want to make a change for Canada. In this bloody war, I want to show the world how strong Canada is as a nation. The deafening sound of a gun firing, ending a life. This is how I visualize the harsh reality for hundreds of thousands of Canadian soldiers fighting in World War I. The sound was familiar to these war heroes who fought for our country during these violent times. This victim's determination, gone. His hope of making it through the war, gone. His life, gone, as he fell to the cold ground. One soldier who made a huge impact in World War I while he fought for Canada was Armin Frank Norris. This brave lieutenant stood out to me in my research because of his many contributions to this war, making him a war hero suitable for this podcast. Armin's life could have been so different if he hadn't chosen this ultimately fatal path. Before enlisting to join World War I in March 1915, he was a student at the University of Toronto for Applied Sciences. Armin was only 22 when he made the decision that would change his life forever, to go to war. He missed out on so much of his life by joining World War I, never finding out if he would get married or start a family. This hero was an intelligent man, but he decided to put his dreams aside for the better good of Canada. Packing his belongings, Armin traveled to France, where he started his training to prepare himself for what was to come. Although nothing could prepare these soldiers for World War I, for it was a war like no other. There were vast amounts of new technology and fighting techniques that were being introduced during the war, which caught both sides off guard. Early in 1917, Armin Frank Norris was promoted in his military ranking, giving him the honor of being trained in England for a year. In 1918, Lieutenant Norris was brought back to France as a soldier in the Machine Gun Corps. He took on a substantial amount of responsibility when being promoted to this job, including when his commander was injured and Armin stepped up to provide orders to his men. Armin brought his guns forward while being attacked under heavy fire and secured an unprotected flank. This act of leadership ultimately provided many other soldiers with protection. He replaced his commander without being prepared for the new sacrifices that this job would entail, resulting in his death. After all of his unforgettable contributions to World War I, Armin was shot through the heart while serving for his country. Although Armin died during this war, he will be remembered for the sacrifices that he made to help shape Canada's identity during World War I. War heroes like Lieutenant Norris were examples of Canadian soldiers that were strong people who, through their bravery, formed what Canada is today. Although the story of one soldier might not seem like it could have impacted the war enough to change Canada and its identity, all of the Canadian soldiers fighting in World War I made contributions that together put Canada on the map after World War I. That was the war story of our main Frank Norris. Thank you for listening, and I hope you tune in for next week's podcast.